Uh, Sorry, I forgot what you wanted me to say. Hi, I'm Matthew Fernandez, and I'm the CEO of Flight Club. And this video is all about how to get your private pilot license. One of the most cost-effective ways to complete your PPL is to join a group of friends and purchase an airplane. And then using a service like Hangar, you can get your ground school done and then share the cost of an airplane and reduce your cost of flying substantially.
So Canada is different from Europe. In Canada, you don't have to go to the same school, although it's probably better to stay with one school. But if you have to move or you want to move for whatever reason, you can. Ground school, as long as you get 40 hours of ground school for your PPL, it doesn't really matter where you get it. And this is where Hangar comes in, because we provide an online ground school, which is used very often either alone by itself, or somebody uses it to supplement their ground school. Particularly people with language disability, not English speakers. They like the fact that they can watch it many times, and that's found to be very helpful. But also people who find it difficult to attend the schedule, because the classes usually are a certain time every week, and maybe you have to work, or for whatever reason you can't attend. So Hangar is another option where you can do it anywhere, anytime. So what you'll get is you'll get a letter of recommendation for writing the Transport Canada written exam, because that's required. We can provide a certificate if the flying school requires one. Some flying schools just like you to have a certificate that says you did the ground school and you did everything. Most are satisfied with just giving the letter, because the letter says the same thing. It says you have 40 hours of ground school and that you're competent, and you can take that to Transport Canada and do your written examination. Because all tests and examinations in Canada, flight tests, written tests, pretty much all require a written letter from an instructor. And Transport Canada offers exams at their own testing centers, but there are also many located in flying schools now. So some flying schools have the authority to allow you to do the written examination at the school. And it might be your school, it might be a school that's nearby, but that information is available online. So when after you pass the written exam, you may have done your flight test already, in which case you just apply for a license, because you don't have to do the written examination first. For a PPL, CPL you do. But most people, if you pass the written examination, then the next thing is really going to be getting ready to take your flight test. Most people are far enough along the training course that they're pretty close to taking their written examination, or their flight test rather. Yes, the best way to do it is to be flying at the same time you're taking ground school, because when you're flying, there are many things that you're going to want to know about that come from ground school. And if you're just sitting in a classroom or in front of a computer screen and you cannot relate that to what's going on in the airplane, it doesn't work very well. So it's much better to do it in parallel. So do them at the same time, because it just works better that way. But some people do own their own aircraft. Sometimes the aircraft is maybe it's part of a family, so the parents own the airplane, and the child, who's probably 18, uses the family airplane to learn to fly. But there are some people that go out and buy an airplane, and then you can hire an instructor and learn to fly. So that's possible as well. But the problem with that, of course, is if you don't have a pilot's license, you really don't know very much about airplanes. So you're gonna rely on other people for advice, or maybe hope to just get lucky and buy the right airplane, right? And that's what happens. But most people, probably 90%, they're going to go to a flying school that's near where they live and get the first license anyway through the flying school. An instructor is responsible for that pilot's training course. So that person who owns that airplane with a student pilot permit can't just go flying. You know, you need to be authorized by an instructor, because that's what the student pilot permit allows, is for you to fly the airplane alone under the supervision of a flight instructor. So we call those instructors freelance instructors, and what they have to do is have a system to authorize the student to go flying. Nowadays it's a text message, right? So if the student took the airplane and crashed it, the instructor would be able to say, well, I have proof here, I always use a text message, I didn't authorize this flight, it's not on me. You know, that doesn't happen very often. I mean, most people are not crazy.
Ground school?
40 hours of ground school, a minimum of 45 hours of flight training, but almost nobody does it in 45 hours. The national average is closer to 70. I haven't checked the numbers exactly lately, but that's usually what it is. And that's just because it takes people longer to get to the test standard. So the hours don't matter as much as the proficiency, how good you are at flying the airplane. And you have to get a recommendation from the flight instructor to take your flight test. You know, there's a paperwork you have to fill out. Of course, you have to pay a fee. And nowadays, our licenses require a picture, so you need a couple of passport photos, and you'll get a license that looks like a passport booklet when you're finished. Transport Canada has, in just about every flying school, an authorized person for aviation licensing. So this is somebody who knows what to do with all of the paperwork. So generally you would go to your flying school, or you could go to a Transport Canada office, and somebody who knows how to do that will take you through it. Some of it you're going to fill out yourself, but it's like name, address, you know, all of those things. But the technical things like how many hours of dual, how many hours of solo, how many hours of cross country, all of that stuff, that's what we have an authorized person for, to make sure that you have all of that. And then the pilot training record that we keep during training, which is like a logbook, but it's a paper, you know, it will get sent to Transport Canada with your application. So Hangar is an online ground school training platform, and we offer all of the licensing courses. We offer some other courses like GPS and crew resource management and some other things, but our main business, the majority of people that we deal with are getting a private pilot license. Mm-hmm. And then fewer an instrument rating and CPL, but that's just because there are just more people getting a PPL. I mean, there are more people with that license. Many people stop at that license. They're not in it to become commercial pilots, but we do get a large number of those. So that's what we do. That's what we do every, you know, we do it all the time. The other things that we do offer live training sessions over Zoom, and people like that because it's interactive. One of the things about taking any online course is there's not as much interaction with the instructor as you would get in a live classroom. So we do these live training sessions to get some of that, and there's a good exchange of ideas, and people like that. And then once a month on a Sunday, usually around the end of the month, we do an online broadcast where I teach a short lesson, usually based on topics that are suggested by our customers, and then we have time for questions and answers. And that's really anything anything aviation related. So some of it might be ground school, asking about a particular technical fact. Some of it might be more advice about what kind of airplane to buy, or career choice, or those kind of things. So we do it all, and that usually takes us somewhere around an hour on a Sunday night. But I think what people really like is the interaction and just having somebody that they can ask. Yeah. It's a slide presentation, but it's not just text. There are videos, there are pictures, there are animation, diagrams, all of that. So we try to mix that up. But then the other thing that I think is really good, and it's a lot of work, but I think it's important, is that every video that you watch, there's also a quiz. So you watch it, and then you check whether or not you really did get it. And if you didn't get it, you watch it again until you see what the where your mistakes are. We grew a lot during COVID because many of the ground schools were shut down. But I think now online learning is much more accepted. People are used to it now. And I think what we're seeing now is, even though ground schools have opened up again, people still like it as a resource. And maybe it helps to hear your ground school instructor teach it, and then I teach it, and then somewhere you get the idea of what it is you're trying to learn. And it's a good supplement, especially for people who find it difficult to make every class. And that's really where this came out of. My partner Paul King, who handles all of the back end technical stuff, he was taking my class, and he found it difficult to get there because of his work schedule. And this is sort of where we got the idea that wouldn't it be great if you could take ground school anywhere you want. And there were online options out there, but we thought we could do it better, and that's how Hangar got started. I was teaching ground school at the St. Catharines Flying Club. I'd done that for many years, way too many years. And Paul was in my class, and he really liked it when he could get there. So the goal was to try and capture some of that and put it online. And it has evolved. So the graphics have evolved, and of course things have gotten better too. We look at some of our graphics from 7-8 years ago. We thought they were really good, and they're compared to now, they're not good. I mean, things are much crisper. You're doing this recording with an iPhone, and 10 years ago it would have been a big camera. So I mean, that's the thing. And so we update things all the time. It's never finished, and when something new comes up, we change the video. And some things we've just redone the whole thing because it has to have a more modern look. So we don't like it to sort of sit and just be the same all the time. I don't want people looking at a 10-year-old video. Maybe a couple years old is about as old as it gets, and that's good. And the other thing that I think we're really good at is customer service. If you call the toll-free number, somebody will answer the phone. And that you don't get that in many businesses now. You get an answering machine or something like that. So we try to be responsive. If people have questions, they can email those questions, and we normally get back to them the same day. Sometimes it's a couple of days if I'm traveling, but we try to turn it around very quickly because we know that if somebody's got an exam coming up, they want to know the answer. So we try to be sensitive to that. The first version probably was 8 years ago, but there's nothing left of the first version. So it has been updated continuously over the years, and probably for every hour that the student sees, there's probably 5 hours behind that, making the graphics better, writing the quiz, and remember the quiz is always it's multiple choice, just like the exam. So we have one correct answer, but the hard part is coming up with the 3 incorrect answers that might be, that somebody would have to think about, and So that takes time. So it is a continuous thing, and what people see is I think our course it exceeds 40 hours. It's probably somewhere closer to 60 hours, but that's what you really need to learn the material. I started flying a long time ago. I started flying in 1975. I was 16 years old, and I became a flight instructor in 1980. It's good because I have a lifetime of doing this, and it's just good to share it with people, And well, the first students for Hangar were actually they were the same students I was teaching live ground school. So what we did was we gave everybody in the classroom a subscription. So probably 8 years ago, there were 15 of them that got access all at the same time. So there was no customer number one. It was customers 1 to 15 all at once, and that provided us with the feedback. What do you like? What would you change? That sort of thing. So that was very helpful. Probably 5 years ago, where there were more and more people that were at flying schools that didn't have a ground school, and this was more common than we knew. That a lot of small flying schools, it doesn't make sense to have ground school for 3 people. It just doesn't. So they use our material, and it's worked fairly well.
Once you're finished your PPL, the best place to time build is with us. We've got tons of airplanes and tons of availability. Take planes, go flying, go on adventures, and like, subscribe, and we'll see you at an airport close to you.